The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus had come into the temple area, the chief priests and the elders of the people approached him as he was teaching and said, "By what authority are you doing these things? And who gave you this authority?" Jesus said to them in reply, "I shall ask you one question, and if you answer it for me, then I shall tell you by what authority I do these things. Where was John's baptism from? Was it of heavenly or of human origin?" They discussed this among themselves and said, "If we say of heavenly origin, he will say to us, 'Then why did you not believe him?' But if we say of human origin, we fear the crowd, for they all regard John as a prophet." So they said to Jesus in reply, "We do not know." He himself said to them, "Neither shall I tell you by what authority I do these things." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a great little gospel passage we have today to see just how serious is the challenge of Jesus. And I don't know that we quite grasp what exactly is going on. Of course, here at the 21st chapter of the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus is in the temple. He's in the temple courtyard. He's teaching. And prior to this, Jesus has he's acted in the temple as though he owns the place. Right? He's gone in there and he's kind of shut up shop, as it were. He's closed off the possibility of sacrifice, the temple's regular business, by tipping over tables and driving money changers out. The question then on the minds of the chief priests and elders of the people, of course, we can say, the religio-political rulers of the time, or those who set the course for Israel, set the national agenda, as it were, through their implementing the agenda in the temple and through the temple. This is the question: who is this? What are you doing? And of course, that's not a real question. This is a tough thing, right? Is that when we see this, when we hear the scriptures again, when we stand, we sing Alleluia. We say in like hushed tones, we have these reciting this or rehearsing this great scene. We just take it at face value, like, okay, yeah, that's a real question. Jesus is coming back with another response, and it's just straight dialogue, right? But it's not what's going on. It's not what's going on at all. In fact, what we see here, and I'll jump to the something of the conclusion, in the sense that what we're seeing is the clash of two worldviews. It's in a clash of really two worlds, where the one is that, of course, the chief priests and the elders of the people, they have their own world. They have their, I should say this, it's a worldview more than world. They have their own worldview, which means that they have some understanding of the way the world works. Yeah, and look, when I go through this, can I say, let me warn you ahead of time. When I go through this, it's not an opportunity to say, oh yeah, like they're so stupid, and of course, 2,000 years ago, and with progress and the rest, we're so much better. We would never make these same mistakes, and so on and so forth. When I walk through it, what I intend you to hear is that you're making exactly the same mistakes now. Okay? So now, go back. So they have a worldview. They have an idea of the way the world works. They've got their own hierarchy, right? They've got their own systems. They understand how power works. They understand how the world goes round, right? They've got it all. They understand it all. And what they're doing then is, when they see Jesus, right? When they see Jesus acting in the temple the way that he's acting in the temple, they go, wait a second. This doesn't fit. This doesn't fit with what we know and what we're doing. Now, it might fit, right? They could say, like, the only way for us to understand this character is if he's this kind of thing or that kind of thing. So like if he's actually a madman, if he's a lunatic who thinks he's he's got power over the temple. Well, that's what we want to find out, want to expose, so that people can see just who he is. But they don't realize what they're doing is saying, we want Jesus to be exposed as who he is on our terms. Right? So within our system, these are the only places where he can fit in. Now, there is a place where he can fit in, even according to their system, and that's right on the top. But if he were to fit in that place, the Messiah, the king, just like the great King Solomon who built the temple, now Jesus can be exercising authority over the temple in the same Davidic line, right? If he actually is the king, if he fits in at the top, everything has to change around him. Now you understand what's going on with them. When they're asking their questions, by what authority are you doing these things? And who gave you this authority? Right? They're looking for ways that he will expose himself as a fraud. Because he's not playing according to their rules. But again, it's a different worldview. And now look at Jesus. He knows this is what's going on. And so what? He doesn't come right back at them and tell them who he is. Why? Because it wouldn't make a bit of difference. If he comes out and says who he is, he's discarded. Yeah, it doesn't move the chains. It doesn't advance the game for Jesus to come out and simply say who he is. What he has to do is expose the flaws in their worldview and to show them that they're not in charge. And if they want to be faithful to the call, if they want to be truly the chief priests and elders of the people that God intended them to be, then they're going to have to embrace a whole new way of seeing things. And so Jesus asks them the question, what of John's baptism? Where was John's baptism from? Was it heavenly or human origin? They can't answer. They can't answer the question. Because instead of then Jesus being cornered by their question with no way out, now they are cornered by his question, and they're exposing themselves. This is for us, can I say, this is the challenge for us, the challenge of Jesus. Are we going to try to fit him in to our lives? And can I say that in the main, our lives are, I don't want to use such harsh language. You know I do actually, but I'm looking for different. They're like pathetically contemporary American. Do you know what I mean by that? It's just like, I mean, our lives, the lives of God's holy people in the church these days, it looks like everybody else's. And when you look around and say, like, look at what everybody else's life is like, it's just like it's like a stream of commercials. Do you know? And it's like a superficial engagement with the actual world and a consumerist approach and buying and selling and whatever. It's just like that's like mainly what our lives look like. Can I ask, like, where does Jesus fit in that? He wants you to buy these certain things and not those certain things. You know what I mean? Like, how does Jesus play into this game? How does Jesus play into this life? Not that we've constructed for ourselves, but that we've accepted as, okay, well, we have to go along with the flow. This is it. Where does Jesus fit in the American contemporary political scene? Can I say he doesn't fit anywhere in it? Can I say that? He doesn't fit anywhere in the American contemporary political scheme. So send me all the hate mail you want, but this is the reality. Jesus, he doesn't necessarily want to blow it up. He wants to transform every single part of it. Every single part of it has to be brought captive for Christ, right? Every part of it has to then move around him, has to be transformed by him, changed by him. I mean, I wish I could say that we're not the case, right? And I'm sure that we can identify places where, of course, our world does not need to be transformed to fit Jesus because it's already happened. And then those places are places of renewal and reformation, right? Those and all the rest. But terribly few could look around them and pick them out. This is the question, right? Is like, are we, and of course, it happens corporately only when individual people allow it to happen or take charge in the process and say, you know what? My whole life is going to be given over to Jesus. I am not content. I'm not content. You can tell I'm not content. I'm not content to just try to fit Jesus into my life. It's not the way it works. It doesn't work that way. And this is the source of all manner of spiritual ills, not just simply like a good bit of the desolation that we experience in our lives, but like societal and spiritual ills. We're trying to fit Jesus into something else when in fact he wants to rewrite the whole thing. He wants to rewrite the whole thing because that's what's best for us. To have hearts and lives that are focused totally on him. But then this is why I say it's the challenge, right? Because it's easy to just fit Jesus in. It's easy to just do some religious stuff and say, yeah, I did it. I checked the boxes, whatever. That's the easy thing. The challenging thing is to make it all about Jesus. But that is the most authentic thing at the end, right? That's the truest thing. I want to say give witness to the truth. This is what it means, that our whole lives are built on the foundation of Jesus. That our whole lives, and brick by brick is Jesus. It's just Jesus all the way through. But we have to give him everything. There's no holding back. Anything we hold back is like yesterday. It's the chaff that's burned in the fire, right? Anything we hold back from Jesus. No, our whole life has to be Jesus. And that's then where, right, we meet the challenge of the day. And today we rise to meet the demands of love with Jesus' own life of love at work in us and working through us. Right? We're empowered by Jesus to make this revolution. We're empowered by him to make it so. We can't do it of our own strength. We can't do it of our own perceived goodness. We can't do it out of our own resources. We must rely on the resources, the strength, the power of God. But my friends, he wants to accomplish it because he wants to raise up his fallen world. And the way that he's decided to do it, the way that he's chosen to do it, I have to say, must be something brilliant, of course, something great about the divine plan, something right and good and true about the divine plan. He's chosen to do it by calling you. And now he's equipping you by making your whole heart, your whole life about him. And that's how he's going to effect the change that we also desperately need.